Today I'm going to make a bit of a twist on the classic snickerdoodle. In our house we call snickerdoodles snoogle-hoogles because one day I couldn't remember what they were called and I said, what are those cookies that Amelia makes? I know they're not called snoogle-hoogles, and everybody laughed. So now that is just what we call them here. This is our Christmas take on the snoogle-hoogle, or snickerdoodle as you might better know them as. This recipe is my contribution to the holiday cookie recipe exchange. All the other members that are participating are all putting out their videos in the next 24 hours or so, and I will put the links to them all down below, so be sure to check them out. And if you're not usually from around here and you don't usually come here, welcome and thank you for joining us, and I really hope that you enjoy this recipe. Now most snickerdoodle recipes actually start with melted butter. This one isn't. This is one that you cream the butter and the sugar. The upside to that is there's no time required to sit it in the fridge. It's really quick, really easy, and very simple to throw together. I'm going to bring the camera over so you can have a bit of a closer look of how we do this, and I have written out the recipe and put it down in the description below for you as well. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 170 degrees Celsius, which is also 340 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I'm going to pull you in nice and tight so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now this is the bowl for my stand mixer, and you don't need a stand mixer to cream butter and sugar, but if you have one it does make really short work of it. And I'm using, it's a Kenwood, so it's what they call the K attachment. Basically a wooden spoon will do just as well. This just does it a lot faster. Into your bowl you want to add 225 grams of quite soft butter, which I can't get off the plate. So into here I'm going to add a whole lot of ingredients. Classically you will whip the butter and the sugar first and add the other ingredients, but because I have two children in the bath that I'm trying to keep out of the way, this is the way a busy mother makes cookies. So I'm going to add a big tablespoon of molasses. If you don't have molasses you can use treacle, but molasses adds that really Christmassy dark flavour without adding too much liquid to it. We're also going to add half a cup of white, normal bog standard white granulated sugar, and 1 1/3 cups of brown sugar. And then I've also got 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, give or take, half a teaspoon of lemon essence. Now if you don't have lemon essence you can replace it with the rind of a lemon, like a grated rind of a lemon. Or you can skip it out altogether, but I really like having a little bit of lemon essence in with my Christmas flavors. It makes a big difference. And then we're also going in with 2 good sized teaspoons of cinnamon. Don't skimp on the cinnamon. And either 3 big teaspoons or a big tablespoon. I'm going to do a teaspoon because my tablespoon doesn't fit in my thingy, so 3 big teaspoons or 1 big tablespoon of, sorry, that's ground ginger. And half a teaspoon of salt. I have used salted butter because unsalted butter for some reason is more expensive here. But I've also added the salt because it's quite a large recipe. So now I'm going to stick this over in my stand mixer and give it a really good whip up until it's looking nice and creamy. And while that's happening, we'll make the cinnamon sugar to go on top. Now while that was whipping up, I put together some cinnamon sugar. I couldn't show you how to do it because the machine was making so much noise, but it is just half a cup of sugar and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and for these Christmassy ones I've added an extra half teaspoon of the ground ginger as well. Honestly, ordinarily I make the rest of these cookies in the stand mixer because it's faster, but I'm going to do it over here so you can hear what I'm saying. The rest of it is very, very easy. All we need to add is 3 cups of flour and a teaspoon of baking soda. It's just normal all-purpose bog standard baking flour. And then 1 teaspoon of baking soda, which I always throw through a sieve because ours is always super lumpy. And then you just gotta mix it. If you started out with butter that was a little bit too soft, this mixture might be a little bit too wet, in which case don't add more flour, pop it into the refrigerator for 10-15 minutes and try it again. If your butter was too firm, then your mixture might be a little bit too dry. So the trick is to make sure you're starting with nice soft butter at the beginning. If it is too dry, you can add a tablespoon or two of cream or milk to help loosen it up, but you won't quite get the same texture in the cookies as you do if you use just butter. As you can see, this is a massive recipe. You can actually halve it if you prefer. This makes 3, sometimes 4 trays of cookies. It depends how much of the cookie dough gets eaten by the helpers along the way. We have got a relatively soft but not goopy sticky cookie dough, which rolls really easily. So you want to roll sort of walnut sized balls. It's probably hard to gauge because I have massive hands. And then pop it in the icing sugar, not icing sugar, you put it in the cinnamon sugar, give it a good shimmy, shake and a coat, and then pop it on the tray. We don't flatten them, and you don't want them too close together because they spread. If you don't want to make all your cookie dough at once, you can simply put a cover over it or put it into an airtight container and store it in the fridge for up to a week before you need to use it. Just bring it out and bring it up to room temperature before you try and use it. Alternatively, you can bag it up and pop it in the freezer and it will last a very long time. So you will notice with these cookies that I have left a couple of inches gap between each of them. They do spread quite a lot in the oven. And so you don't want to cram them on. This is a standard sized cookie sheet and I only have put 12 on there. And now we bake them for 8 to 9 minutes only. Don't overbake them, don't underbake them. And you want to bake them on that middle rack, and I only ever do them 1 layer at a time. Other exciting news for our channel and our blog in general is that I have now got some t-shirts that I have designed on Redbubble and also a few other websites as well. So I'll put a link to those down below. Be sure to check them out. This one here is the one I'm wearing today. I've ordered a whole bunch of different designs so I can show you guys them on some of my videos. And I'm really happy with the quality of the product. So be sure to check them out. Now, when you get them out of the oven, they will be puffed up like little round cakes and still quite soft to poke. But just give them some time to sit on the tray before you do anything else with them. After a few minutes, you can see that they have collapsed and they've firmed up quite nicely. So now I'm going to move them onto a cooling rack to continue cooling. So once you're finished with these, pop them into an airtight container and they will last for a good couple of weeks. Unfortunately, around here, they only last a couple of days because they get eaten so very quickly. Just be careful with them. They're very, very delicious. I hope you've enjoyed that recipe. If you have, hit the like button. Be sure to ask any questions or make any comments down below. And if you're really into other homesteading activities, be sure to follow us as well. I'll see you in the next one.